So we'll go ahead and start the overview now. So when you think about end of year three, there's been an addition. Historically, we had student discipline, which is behavioral incidents, and STAS, which is student absenteeism. But over the past couple of years, we continue to add it. So we've had cumulative enrollment, the homeless program, and the count of reclassified students. And then we have the key dates. And so the key dates are kind of a funny thing to me, just because they've changed and they've been compromised. But the snapshot did begin June 2nd, which is about a month, 3 weeks after when it normally starts. So you have a condensed timeline for reporting. The approval deadline has been lifted, so there is no mid-submission checkpoint. You won't be receiving emails from CSIS. However, it's very important that you manage your own time and set a schedule, because the amendment window to this point has gone unchanged. And quite honestly, there's not a lot of flexibility at the end of the year to continue EOY. And that's because you can't do fall one and EOY simultaneously. CalPADS has a rollover procedure similar to what you have in your student information systems. And so even if they do choose to extend the amendment window deadline, they only have a limited time in which that extension can go for. So we would like for everyone to try to target the amendment window, and as functionality is improved or available, be able to work in those efforts. All right, so when you're thinking about the record types required for EOY 3, you're going to have a student incident file, right? We need to submit those incident records. Every incident should have associated result, whether it was no action or some type of alternative discipline. And then student offense for those incidents that don't have behavioral incidents. Of course, the STAS file or the student absence summary file. And then the student enrollment. At some point, you will be required to exit all your enrollments. You're also going to have the student program file so that you can submit your homeless program records or close your homeless program records. And then your student English learner acquisition status. So we kind of show you this just to, give you a visual, all the different files required, but also conceptually, you can see how large of a submission this is. I think fall one requires 6 files, and here we have 6 or 7. It's quite a big submission. And it's just one of 4 others, or there's 3 others. So it's one of 4. So, it's a lot of work. We understand that. But end of year 3 has a lot of key data. So just keep that in mind. So there's questions to ask yourself, and Kyron usually takes over right about now, but we like to kind of introduce you to some of the documents if you're unfamiliar, or show you ways to use the documents the same way we use them.
To be, as Nate hinted, to be successful in managing your CalPADS data and also resolving any errors and knowing what are required for CalPAD submission, it is important to know where the resources is. Okay, you really don't need to know each and every detail or print every detail. It's just knowing the resources, bookmarking it, and then coming back to it whenever you guys need reference. So for end of year, the initial guidance is for you guys to go to the CalPAD user manual. That's the most accessible page coming from this CalPADS homepage. Go to Help User Manual, and then going to the end of year roadmap. The end of year roadmap will provide you a glimpse of what to expect for end of year submission. You have here AOY 1, 2, 3, 4, what the dates, and then the different flashes that are relevant to end of year submission, and also changes, and also some reminders, especially it's June 21st. So Just a reminder, you have to download your direct cert for the year and foster youth reports for the year. That way you have a reference for those, because by July 1st, all of that data from academic year 21-22 will be purged. And then you also have here the different file types, okay? And clicking on each would provide you detailed um, detailed instructions on how to report this data. Okay, so there are also videos within these pages. Let me just bring up one here that would provide that is embedded, which comes from the oh, not this one, from the YouTube channel. So these are just the basic ones, and the reporting roadmap also has a checklist that you could download. So it's a more detailed spreadsheet of what you guys need to look for with regards to data requirements in CalPads. That, and then of course you have your CalPads system documentation where you could look at the most recent Flash message. I know you guys received Flash 224 last Friday, and some may have some adverse reactions to what that message had in it. But this is where you download that if you miss that message. Also, end of year has a lot of um, scenarios that might not be available in the CalPads data guide. And so if you go here and go to CalPads frequently asked questions, you have these sections here, okay, for end of year. And for end of year 3 and 4 that involve SPED students, it is also important to go back to the basics, knowing enrollment setup that you guys need to be aware of with regards to how to set up enrollments for 50s for non-ADA students, and who claims what enrollment. And so you have to go to CalPAS communications and look for Flash 161. um, that's an old Flash, so let's go to archives and go to this part here, Flash 161, and this is the one that I am referring to, reporting data. So for every scenario, if you get CERT 145, CERT 140 in your end of year 4 or any of those, this is where you have to go to. And this because the enrollments involve you guys, CalPAS SIS coordinators. It's not just the SPED. So you need to establish the right enrollment parameters for your special ed folks to be able to submit their data successfully. So let's just put that here. If you guys don't have this yet, um, what else? So that, and then of course, we're in dark times in terms of CalPAD's functionality, and CalPAD submissions. We now have multiple errors and defects left and right because of as a result of this adjustment to the post redesign. And so another go-to documentation is a current known issues list. So you can access this from the CalPAS user manual, or if you're within CalPAS, just scroll to the bottom and click on this active and fixed known issues. So these are just the basic documentation you could download. Also, you have the um, where's that? Under system documentation, if you go back to the CalPADS page under system documentation, you have the different documents that you could refer to for end of year. Your go-to documents is the CalPAS data guide because of the exits, because of the rules in discipline or incident behavior, at least for end of year 3. And then you also have the different programs, and then SILA for RFEP. So all of these are in the data guide. And then of course the error list. So if you download the error list, you now will have additional columns that we will show you later when we discuss the certification process. Giving it back to you, Nate.